Hey everybody, this is Dr. Joe Borio with this week's Thought Flash. Couple of quick announcements today. First off, we were supposed to go over the second principle on chiropractic out of Rob Sinnott's book, who's going to be a speaker for us in Dallas, so we're real excited about that. But I had a moment today, what I want to share with you, that talks about where we are, and I think it's a great example how sick we are as a culture. But before I get to that, a couple of quick announcements. We've got an in-office training on August 17th. It's a Friday, so if you're a Chiropassion Consulting client, on August 17th, we're going to do a training from 10 to 5 in the afternoon. As clients for our program understand that if you are part of our program, part of that family, you get to come in the office every 2 months and train directly with me and my staff and really go over all procedures, protocols, learn how to handle objections and challenges, just in real time, and it's just I think a great way to grow and learn and serve more people with real chiropractic care, and that's an exciting thing that I can still offer people because I'm still in practice. Secondly, we've got an event coming up, Chiropassion Consulting event. It's going to be in my office. That's going to be September 14th and 15th. Friday night's going to be Philosophy Extravaganza. We got Dr. Kathy Wendland-Colby, who has been a chiropractor for many years. She's awesome to listen to. Watched a lot of her videos. She's instrumental in the Women's League of Chiropractors. So exciting to have her there. She's actually been New Beginnings in many other events, and we're really honored and excited to have her there, share her thoughts on chiropractic and share her thoughts and her expression on chiropractic philosophy. I'll finish Friday night up with Chiropractic Philosophy Extravaganza. Then what we're going to do is on Saturday all day, we start at 8 o'clock, go to about 5:30, sometimes upwards up to 7 o'clock at night, and we're going to talk about chiropractic practice management, how to run the office better, how to implement things better in the office. And with that, I'm going to bring in Dr. John Davila, who is an expert on compliance. And I don't mean just insurance compliance. Dr. John's going to talk about how to implement certain protocols and procedures in your practice to make sure that you're compliant with state and federal law. He's also one of the leading experts on Medicare. How do you get out of Medicare? We are almost fully out of Medicare. Real excited about that. So how to really, not you opt out, but how to have your members of your practice opt out and actually pay for your care and how to do it legally. So real excited to have him with us in my office and to share those questions so that we could all practice with character and integrity and honesty, and so we can all be in compliance, because I think that's important for our profession to thrive and grow. I think we need to be doing it better than anybody out there, and Dr. John's going to help us deliver that message. My epiphany today, what I wanted to share with you, and why I actually had the audacity to not talk about principle number 2, was because I was watching the news today, and they had a Febreze commercial, and they had this woman, and she's spraying Febreze all over her house. She was spraying Febreze on the carpet, and she was spraying it in the mud room, and she was spraying it on the kids' clothes, and on the boat, in the car, and then the husband. They were showing a family gathering later, and they showed the husband laying down on the floor, and they thought they were playing charades, and he was smelling the carpet, and he was talking about how fresh and beautiful and clean everything smelled. And I think what's wrong with that picture is the same thing that's wrong with our health in our society. And the reality is this, that we think that we're going to worry about our fingernails and our hair and our complexion of our skin and putting drugs and chemicals on the outside of us, and because everything looks good or okay, then we must be healthy inside. The reality is, if I spray Febreze in my house and it smells cleaner and fresher, that doesn't mean the house is cleaner and fresher. It doesn't mean that everything's okay. It doesn't mean I don't have a major sewer leak down in the basement, or something major is going on, and that may be rotting or causing rotting timber in my house. That doesn't mean that, just because everything smells okay. And but that's what we do with our bodies. We put these chemicals in us. We walk around, and boy, thank God our kids got a shot, or they got all these immunizations with mercury and phenol and aluminum and who the hell knows what else is in them, and they got all these other chemicals circulating in their body, and because my blood pressure's high, or I got cholesterol issues, I got this, I swallow that down and I hit it with Febreze. I hit it with Febreze, everything's okay, nothing's wrong, everything, my numbers are okay. My skin looks okay, my hair looks okay, my fingernails look okay. I got that Febreze on me. When reality is we're sewage inside. We're sick, diseased, dying flesh is often what happens. If you disconnect the nervous system from tissue, that tissue dies. That is not a chiropractic opinion. That is neurophysiology. If I cut the nerve to your tooth, it dies. If I cut the nerve that goes to your eye, it's going to die. If I cut the nerves that go to your arm and your hand and your fingers over a period of time, that tissue, that flesh is going to rot. It's going to die. So the reality is what's happening inside of us is that we're rotting flesh if our nervous system can't properly communicate it to the tissue. And the reality is obviously the more significant the compression, the more significant the loss of nerve communication, the more significant we're going to have as far as necrosis or death to the tissue. The smaller amount of loss, it doesn't mean we're not getting closer to the death of that tissue, but it might be a little slower. And many times that's the reality in our society. We couple that with the loss of proper nutrition. We couple that with the loss of proper movement. We couple that with the loss of proper thinking, autosuggestion, which P.J. Palmer talked a lot about. And we start looking at abnormal, distorted thoughts, and by that I mean mental signals, mental messages carried through nerve flow to the tissue to animate our body, and then we look at abnormal afferent messages from the body going up to the brain. We look at abnormalities in that. We look at the brain sending the wrong signal because it's getting the wrong information, and then we look at that loss of nerve communication causing changes in the sympathetics. We look at changes in brain mapping. We look at neuronal recruitment in the brain, and all of a sudden we realize that we're just rotting, dying flesh, and we're accelerating that death of tissue by having loss of normal nerve supply. And because everything else looks okay on the outside, because I swallowed down a handful of pills today or whatever, and I put some things nice on my outside of my body, whether it's my clothes or my hair or my tan or my fingernails, I give it the spray of Febreze and everything must be okay. When in reality, we're probably one of the sickest nations on the planet, and we certainly are the sickest species on the planet. And the reality, when you look at that, is the profession of chiropractic in the art of adjusting is critical. But I truly believe not only the philosophy, but when you look at the metaphysical aspect of the philosophy and how everything is connected, and how BJ tried to explain that to us, and Dee Dee tried to explain it to us, that there's an intention within the universal law that if we follow that, and if you read the words of Albert Einstein and how his thinking of universal intelligence was connected to himself, that he had moments where he would have flashes that were connected to some type of knowledge that was superior to what he himself had learned, and that what he realized is that we need to be humble, and we need to work along with nature, if you will, or that universal intelligence, that it's all in a sense figured out, and that we need to work in conjunction with it and work as a steward with it as opposed to trying to work against it. And we're learning the hard way by the fact that in reality our children of today in this country are not expected to live as long as their parents had lived, and that's the first time in history. So we're really getting sicker as a nation. Unless we speak up, things aren't going to change. I don't know if anybody's read my Facebook post recently, but in reality, the what many of the ancients have shared with us, and I'll close here, is that the reason there's evil in the world isn't because there's evil people. It's because the good people don't stand up, speak up, and stop it. And the reality is we need to join together as chiropractors and really know our philosophy, know what our message is, be clear with our message, and make an effect on the consciousness of healthcare of mankind, to let them know that we need to work in conjunction, that the body works under a set of principles and laws, and that if we honor those and recognize that they exist and work in conjunction with it, we change the world. We change it tomorrow. You can wipe out almost all sickness and disease just by that alone, just by our paradigm. Not even putting another dollar into the till, just changing our paradigm, how it would greatly change the health care of the United States and certainly the world. So we're running out of time, guys. This has been Dr. Joe Borio with this week's Thought Flash. We will get back to Rob Sennett next week and talk about principle number 2. Don't forget about our event coming up in the office on August 17th for clients only, and then September 14th and 15th. That's open to anybody. Love for you to come check us out, see what you think of Chiropractic Consulting. If you're looking for a coach, we'd love to have you part of our family. Guys, have a great week serving. May your innate always flow from above down, inside out, guys. Have a great week.